Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. For those that are new here, my name is Elenia and this is Soft Skill Atelier, where I teach you all the skills you need to bring your fashion ideas to life. This is the fourth and last part on how to do pants finishings. In this video I show you how to finalize your pants, how to sew some nice back pockets and how to sew the waistband with a buttonhole so it all lines up with the rest of the pants. If you haven't watched the other parts, I linked them in the description. Make sure you watch them too, so you get your pants finished with all the details. Before we get started, we have a quick look at all the tools and materials we need for today's session. So let's do it.
We need scissors, paper scissors and fabric scissors, pins, a thread. I take a white one so you can see the stitching better, a ruler, a tape measure, small snippy scissors, sewing needles, a button, a pencil, fabric marker, a transparent paper, a sewing machine that can sew buttonholes, a normal sewing machine, you can also use the same machine obviously, and an iron. I choose a pretty classic denim pants design for the pocket. It's quite impressive how much influence the shape and the size of your pockets have over how the back of your pants look like. I start with drawing a line for the flat top in a 90-degree angle to the center back line. I made it 16 centimeters wide. From the center of my line, I draw a line down in a 90-degree angle again. This one is also 16 centimeters long. You can also vary this one a bit to make a more elongated pocket. I decided to make the bottom lines in two slightly varied angles. It is fun to play around with different shapes and find out which shape is the most flattering one for your pants. Also, the distance the pockets are placed away from each other makes a huge impact on how your pants look. As soon as I like the shape of my pocket, I take some transparent tracing paper and copy the shape onto the new paper so I have a separate pattern for the pocket. I also add a seam allowance of 1 centimeter to the pattern. On the top side I add 2 centimeters since this will be the opening of the pocket. Then it is time to cut the pockets out 2 times. I cut them out in one go by folding the fabric double. Now I start by overlocking the edges of the pocket so that they won't fray. If you don't have an overlocker, just use a zigzag stitch for this process. In the next step, I fold the edges of the pocket by ironing them around. The upper part, where the opening of the pocket is, will be folded down last. When both pockets are ready, I start by top stitching 2 lines on the top of the pocket. They should be half a sewing foot width apart from each other. I chose a white thread to make the stitching visible to create a visual detail. Make sure the stitching hits the parts that is folded back. When both pockets are finished, it's time to attach them to the back of the pants. I try to place them the same way I drew them on the pattern paper in the beginning. I am using a ruler to make sure I have the right placement on both sides. Then I'm using a lot of pins to make the pockets stay in place because now it's time to sew them on with a top stitch tool. I am sewing the double top stitch lines in one go, starting with the outer stitch all the way around. When I arrive on the other side, I turn around and sew back the same way I came, a half a sewing foot width further inside the pocket. Just make sure you watch carefully how I am doing it if you want to repeat the process. And here we go, the pockets are sewn on. Now it's finally time to sew the front and back parts together. In my case I only sew the sides together, but if you have real pants, Sew also the inseams together, otherwise you will end up with a skirt. I carefully sew the sides, making sure I also sew on the wide parts of the pocket into the side seams. As soon as the front and back is sewn together, I start measuring what size the waistband needs to be. I start measuring at the extra piece of fabric that is below the zipper. From there I measure all the way around to the center front where the zip fly is. I am keeping the number I just measured in my head and heading over to my waistband will be 4 centimeters wide. I will have the waistband double layered, so I need an 8 centimeter band, plus adding the seam allowance of 1 centimeter on each side, and that's how I end up with a stripe that is 10 centimeters wide. Also with 2 centimeters extra for the seam allowance. As soon as I have cut out the waistband, I'm heading over to the ironing board to prepare the waistband by folding one side 1 centimeter away the whole length. Then I fold the whole band in half, making sure that one side where I have folded already 1 centimeter away is now shorter. Then I sew the 2 ends of the waistband shut and flip them around, making sure the corners are properly pushed out. Now it's time to sew on the waistband, making sure that the side that is not folded in is closer to the pants. I pin this side of the waistband into the inside of the pants waistline and only sew this side on with a straight stitch. Arriving on the end of the seam, I can simply flip the waistband around and pin it on the other side that is already folded in all the way around. It is important that this side is the side that is visible while wearing the pants, because usually this is the prettier side. As a final task for the waistband, I sew the second side on with a top stitch around all the edges of the waistband. Now finally arriving to the final task of this video, and that is making a buttonhole and sewing on the button. To make sure the button will sit exactly where you want it to sit, I need to make sure the left corner of the hole lays where the button should sit. My industrial sewing machine has no buttonhole function, and that's why I'm using the Singer household sewing machine. I'm using this simple square buttonhole with the 4-step buttonhole system. After finished stitching, it's time to open a buttonhole by cutting the fabric apart. A quick testing, if the button fits through the hole, we are on to sewing on the button. Right when I think I have sewn on the button well enough, I will wrap the thread around the button a few times to give it the extra stability it needs. After tying the loose ends together and cutting off all the threads, I am done and the pants are ready. Look at it, everything lines up smoothly and it looks nice. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching my video. Let me know how your pants turned out. I'm also happy to see your results. And please don't forget to subscribe. I see you next time. Bye!